Good morning, Kentucky chapter of IPMA-HR. Welcome to day 2 of our 2022 annual but virtual conference. It's my pleasure to introduce our chapter president, Renata Simmons.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to day 2 of our 2021-2022 IPMA annual conference. We have an action-packed schedule again today of events and speakers, and we are excited again for another day. We had an awesome day yesterday with Colleen being our keynote speaker, Colleen Elridge, and hearing from also personnel cabinets, mediation program. So we also have today a lot of speakers. We have Kristen Scroggin coming back to us. Again, we have personnel cabinet updates, and we'll be also having EEC coming to us with their Leadership Academy information. So a few things to remember today. We want to also let you know that you can leave any questions or comments in our Q&A box. We will be monitoring that throughout the meeting today. Feel free to tap into that. We also want you to know that our meeting yesterday and also today, those who have attended, we will receive an attendance report, and Robbie will also issue training credit to those who are on the report, 3 hours per day that you would receive. So be looking for that here in the next few weeks. Let's see. Also, we wanted to remind everyone that we'll make further announcements, but we'll continue to keep reminding throughout the day that when it comes to our upcoming year for membership, remember that those membership dues for 2022, 2023 will actually be due September the 1st. So anyone new on here who is not currently a member, and also current members, be sure to submit your membership dues. We will get started this morning with just a couple of little fun Mentimeter questions. We had some technical difficulties yesterday, so today we want to try to jump in here and just do a little bit of fun of just a little breaking the ice with some Mentimeter questions for everyone today to participate. Also wanted to mention that these recordings of the past 2 days of the conference will also be available on our website for 6 months. So for those who may have missed the first day or missing today or just want to go back and rewatch it again, it'll be available. All right, so Robbie.
Yes, so everyone on your phones can go to menti.com. It's in the announcements in the Q&A part, and use the code 72512247.
So with our theme being thriving on the HR path forward, I wanted to see who's on our IPMA-HR road today.
Hey, just a heads up, it's still showing that voting is closed on our end.
It should be okay.
Okay, rocking. Thanks.
Sorry.
Awesome. See, we just wanted to kind of let everyone see. We wanted to also see who's out there with us today, since I know it's this virtual setting has made it a little bit different, but we just thought it'd be nice to see who's out there. Join us today for each of you all to see who's out there. All right, now let us know what cabinet or agency you represent. Let's represent our agencies today. Looks like we're well represented. KDE, CHFS, EC, Education Workforce Development, KYTC, Personnel Cabinet, Justice, Labor Cabinet, Tourism, Arts and Heritage. Awesome. All right, we like this one. How many miles or years have you been trucking on the HR path? So how many years have you been working in the HR field?
We have a lot of maturity, Renata.
Look at that. Seasoned HR folks. So yeah, so we got some HR professionals. So yeah, our goal also is to also try to build up even our new folks that are new to HR, introducing them into Kentucky chapter IPMA. Building them up, encouraging them in leadership. Right, and then is your role currently driving the ship or a passenger? So are you a manager or an employer? An employee, regular employee. Awesome, got a lot of HRGs out there. Continue to build up our leaders. I know in the telecommuting world, some folks aren't having to drive into the office as much, but we thought it was kind of neat to say what jams, what do you drive to throughout your day, or even if you're sitting at your desk and you're working, and what gets you through your day, what artists or what songs or even podcasts. Earth, Wind, and Fire, love it. Casting Crows, yes. Beyonce. Taylor Swift with some Prince in there. I'm a Kurt Franklin praise. Lifts me up in the mornings. Christian rock and roll, 80s rock. Some audio books out there. All right. Music's good for the soul. What else we got? Somebody likes some gangster rap. Nothing wrong with it. Today's show, love it. See some Chris Stapleton fans. What else we got, Robbie? Is that it? Fight songs. All right. Now that everyone's all unwind and we see who's out there and what everyone's listening to, I want to go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and introduce Kristen and bring her to the stage today. Backed by popular demand, Kristen Scroggin, of course, can't do math or bake a pie, but she knows her stuff when it comes to generational diversity and communication. Kristen has a master's degree in communication studies, a bachelor's in communication arts, and has been a communications professor at the University of Alabama in Huntsville for 15 years. In 2017, she launched her company, Gen Y Communications, and has been a keynote speaker at more than 100 conferences and 250 plus organizations across the United States, ranging from Fortune 500 companies to tiny nonprofits. Her research has been published in magazines, and she's been a guest on multiple podcasts. Kristen consults on attracting, developing, and retaining rockstar millennial and Gen Z talent. Obsessed with travel and desperate to see the world, she and her husband try to keep their 4 children alive while trying to keep their heads above water. So at this time, I'd like to welcome Kristen Scroggin.
Hey, good morning. How's everybody doing? Okay, hopefully you can see me. I don't know because Teams is weird. Everybody can see me, okay? Yeah. So it's so funny when you talk to Teams, a lot of it is you just talking into an empty hole. Like, you know,
Kristen,
you just assume everyone loves it. Yes.
turn your camera on, please.
I did turn my camera on. Hold on. Hold on. Do you see me now?
Nope.
How about now?
No.
Well, sweet potatoes.
I got your content.
I mean, it's showing on my end that I have it. I'm sorry, y'all. This always happens, right? Whenever you really need the tech to work, it won't ever work. Something happens. Okay, let me try this one more time. Turn my camera on.
Do you have your little window screen open? Mine slides back and forth of your camera.
Have you got me now?
No.
Nope.
Have you got me now?
No.
You got your background.
My background? Oh, the background of my computer. Okay, I don't think you're going to get my face for some reason, which is a shame because I'm so lovely today. But I don't want to take your time, so I want to make sure that we kind of roll right along. Are you okay with us just moving into the content?
Sure.
Okay, you can hear me okay. You can keep trying to work on my face, but I've clicked everything I can think of. Well, even without my face, don't worry. You will learn something today about persuasion and influence and how it makes a huge difference in the way that we impact the world around us. And I think this is really important in particular for you HR people, because many times what happens that I've discovered is that someone makes a decision and then they look at you HR and they're like, now go and tell the people. And you don't in any way have to actually like that decision or believe in that policy or any of that for someone to say, go forth and make everyone happy with said policy. And so persuasion and influence becomes a really important thing in your life and making you feel a little more confident going into maybe those harder conversations and walking sort of into the world a little bit more positively. So I'm excited to kind of take you through this, and you're going to love it. There's lots of cool, nerdy stuff for us to learn about today. And so, yeah, let's just launch right in. So the first thing I want to introduce you to is what the word rhetoric actually means. And rhetoric is the art of persuasion. Okay, so let's think about this. When you think about something being an art form, that means some people are really good at it and some people are really not good at it. Okay, so think about this. You go in, you're going to buy a car. Why is it that there's certain people when you go to the car dealership that you're like, oh, this person I would buy the car from? And then the next person you're like, oh, you are way too slimy. Absolutely not. I'm not buying a car from you. There's this sort of tension that comes between being persuasive and crossing over the line into sort of hard sell or aggressiveness. And we're learning more and more, because I study generations, for those of you that haven't ever heard me before, we're learning more and more that the younger generations of the millennials, the Gen Zs, and I would say most people who are zennials, that's people in their 40s, don't do well with a hard sell. When you come in and you hyper pressure them, they just shut down. And that's why things like Carvana is doing so well right now. I go online, I don't have to talk to a person. I decide whether I want to buy the price or not. But there's all kinds of rhetoric that's going on in the background of that website that you need to become aware of. There's all these elements that if you want to persuade someone to do, think, feel, or buy, that's the key, okay? Anytime you do any presentation, you should be, let's caveat that, you should be trying to get someone to do something, think something, feel something, or buy something. So if you get up to give a presentation and you're not doing that, you're not trying to persuade someone to do one of those things, do, think, feel, or buy, then really you've just done a stand-up comedy routine, right? The whole point of giving a presentation, period, is to get someone to take action, whether that is to apply the budget that you just talked about, or whether that is to vote on the policy that you'd like to see implemented. That's the goal, to make them think about something, do something, feel something. So what we want to do is construct our arguments and control our nonverbal communication in a way that makes people more likely to do what you want them to do. Okay, now, with great power, my friend, comes great responsibility. And so I need you to promise me that you will use all these new skills that I'm going to teach you for good and not evil, because you will learn more about how to persuade people to do what you want them to do. And this is where ethics becomes a huge part of it. And hopefully what will happen too is that as I'm teaching you about these different things, when you're watching commercials, when you're watching political ads, when you're watching other people trying to convince you to do, think, feel, or buy, that your brain goes, how much of this are persuasive tactics to get me to do it? And do I want to buy in? Right? Because being persuaded is a choice. You can look at it and go, yeah, you have crossed the line into creepiness and I'm not buying now. I will go and buy my Hyundai Sonata at a different dealership where the people are not so creepy. Like you totally can do that when it comes to brain control and persuasion. But if you don't know the tactics people are using, and then if they're using them in a really shady way, I want you to be able to go like, oh, shadiness, I don't want to do whatever they're telling me to do. Okay, so why are we not equipped to communicate naturally? I think this is a pretty important part. And I think it's because we forget that we're so close to caveman. So the issue is that we so believe that we're like such advanced culture and blah, blah, blah. But in reality, if you got into an argument with your partner or your boss or whatever today, you are probably going to move into one of these three key responses, which is to fight, flight, or freeze. So we might be cavemen with computer access, but the fact is that when stress happens, we have a weird adrenaline rush that makes us move into one of these categories. And so when we're thinking about influence and persuasion and getting people to do more of what we want, we have to become acutely tuned into other people's fight, flight, or freeze responses. Basically, you need to be able to watch people and see when they are shutting it down. Okay, so what do people do? So this is the thing. So let's say I work with Renata. Okay, so what I'm going to do in working with her is I'm going to start to build in my brain almost like a Renata profile, like a folder. I'm going to observe her in meetings. I'm going to see her when she's relaxed. I'm going to see her when she's obviously angry. I'm going to watch those things, and I'm going to build a little profile in my brain of what Renata does when she starts to get under stress. So that what I can do is, before I even approach Renata, if she's got her I'm stressed out, don't talk to me face, my brain's going to go, oh, maybe now's not a great time for me to say about that raise. And this is what people don't do. I think very frequently when they're interacting with other people, they don't attempt to build profiles on the people that they're closest to. And so while Larry, let's use Larry Gillis. So let's say when Larry Gillis is mad, he puts his hands on his hips. I've actually seen him do this, right? He's getting a little stressed out. He puts his hands on his hips. He goes to full Peter Pan position. Okay. So when let's say he starts getting stressed out and he goes to that position. But let's say that Vicky goes to a totally different position. Maybe she goes to an arm cross when she's upset. So this is sort of the idea of frequently, if you assume that everyone does the same things you do when they are getting stressed out or tense or opposed to the decision, and you don't profile people individually, you're going to miss it. Follow me, you guys? You have to figure out who the person you're trying to persuade, what do they do? Do they go to the arm cross quickly? Do they go to the Peter Pan? Do they raise their eyebrow in a way that's like, you must be crazy? Like, you have to begin thinking about what people do before they move into that natural fight, flight, or freeze. Because here's the thing, my friends, if you're having a conversation with someone and you cross the line and they move into either fight or flight or freeze response, you're not in dialogue anymore, which means the odds of you getting them to do what you want them to do are very low. Follow me on this? So if I know, let's say that I know Renata, I'm going to guess Renata's like me. She's a fighter, not a flighter. Okay. So for me, if I'm challenged, then let's just work it out. Let's just go. Let's just talk until we can't talk anymore. And then it's resolved. I am not going to run away. I'm not going to slam the door. I'm going to let you know exactly what I think. Okay. So here's the thing though, for those of us that are fight people, when we get into that place, we're not interested in hearing what you have to say anymore. We're going to win that conversation, baby. Don't you worry. If I have to hurt your feelings, so be it. And so that's the thing. You have to begin watching for those triggers, those little nonverbal cues that people do that say before they shut down, before it becomes about, I got to get out of this room and because these people are losing their minds, which is a flight response, or now I've dug in and I'm going to win and it doesn't matter how persuasive your argument is, by God, I'm going to win this conversation. You don't want to get to that point whenever you are, especially in HR, when you are dealing with people. So what we have to do is begin to observe people's natural triggers. And then when we build profiles on them, now if I see Renata's eyebrow go up like, girl, you must be crazy, I'm going to be like, okay, I'm going to kind of step back, because here's the big thing I need to teach you about good communicators. Are you ready? Write this down, baby. This is gold. Adults press pause. Adults press pause. Toddlers continue to yell and scream until they get their way. Teenagers run away to their rooms and slam the door and never come back to the conversation, right? They come out and they're like, they've never even said anything sassy to you, right? Adults press pause. When they are in a conversation and they see that they are no longer in healthy dialogue, they say, you know what? I can feel myself getting fired up. And so I'm going to press pause on this conversation and breathe for a second. And I'm going to go run some cold water on my face or take a lap around the building. And then we can come back and talk about it. Before they do damage, okay? Before you do damage, realize that grown-ups press pause. Toddlers keep yelling and screaming. Teenagers run away. Grown-ups say, I care enough about this person and the relationship being healthy with this person, whether that is a coworker, whether that is a spouse, whether that is a child. I care enough about this person to temporarily pause the conversation so that I don't say or do anything that will limit my future, and write it down, limit my future ability to persuade them. right? Because here's the thing. I want you to think about bosses that you've had in the past. That they might be saying something really smart, but you just hate that person so much at this point. No matter what they say, it turns into, remember the Charlie Brown teacher, the wah, 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 right? Like, it doesn't matter what they say anymore. Your brain shuts it down. And we don't want to, if we want to be strong influencers and persuaders, we don't want to get to that spot, you guys, where people have such animosity with us that we can't persuade them anymore. And one of the best ways that you do that is you become an observant leader. You look at people and you go, ooh, Vicki is shutting down right now. I'm going to press pause on this conversation and I'm going to circle back around, okay? Because this is the key. This is what's on the screen here. People, when they're under stress, move to fight, flight, or freeze. And it's very hard to persuade anybody to do anything when they have moved into one of those natural reactions. Everybody got that? All right, let's move on to the next concept. Here's the why persuasion matters. Persuasion allows you to get more of what you want while people hate you less. I'm going to give you a second to write that down because that's really the key. If you are persuading people and everyone despises you, it's really not persuasion, it's oppression. It's a dictatorship. Okay, we don't want that. When you're persuading people, you're looking for ways to strike healthy compromise. You are going around the back end and explaining to people why making this particular choice is going to be advantageous to them. You are looking out for the best interest. You're thinking about things like, is this the best time of day to even be having this conversation? You're thinking about all of those elements. And that makes you a strong persuader because you are thinking about all the little tiny details along the way instead of just barreling in and saying, I have an opinion and I'm going to make sure I vocalize that. And if you don't do it, I'm going to make you so miserable that you either quit. Okay, let's make sure that we caveat that. I want to say that that is a decent percentage of the Great Resignation right now, is you have a lot of people who say, I'm not talking about this anymore. I've been very clear on what I want and you're not going to give it to me. And so I'm going to walk. Now, whether that's realistic or not, I really can't help you. But the fact is that's a lot of what's going on. Okay. So what we're looking to do here is increase our persuasive abilities to make it possible for people to do more of the things you want them to ethically do, right? More of what you want them to do while they hate you less. That's the recipe for a happy workplace right there. Okay. All right. So we are going to aim in on 3 key words. And like every good thing academically, it stems from the Greeks. Everything starts with the Greeks. And what we are looking to do is to put elements of all 3 persuasive tactics into, hear me, every persuasive move we do. We're looking for ethos, pathos, and logos. And we're going to go through each one of those things and what they look like. But here's the thing. Every person that you talk to is slightly more persuaded by one of these 3 things. Ethos is all about credibility. It's about proving to me that you know what you know, that you're well researched, that you've had experience in it, or that you can find someone else that I know is an expert who will back you up. Okay. Pathos is all about emotion. Can you make me feel something? Because this is a big truth. People are more likely, even logical people, are likely to make an emotional decision and then go and find the logic to back up their decision. Most people make decisions emotionally. They like you, so they'll do it. They hate you, so they won't. Right? So there's an emotional element of all of this. And then the last element here is logos, which is logic. It's all about charts and graphs and statistics and what can you prove to me? Can you show me over a period of time that multiple people are in or agree with whatever it is that you have to say? Okay, so let's explore these 3: ethos, pathos, logos. Okay, ethos equals credibility. So how could that look in a sentence? One of the ones would might be something like, as an engineer, I'm qualified to tell you that. So this is why you'll start to notice this happen more and more. People will put their years of qualification or what their degree title is or whatever it is as part of the conversation. So my 3 decades of experience in government contracting have shown me this is a credibility play. You're saying, I've been doing this for a while, right? And what my particular field is, if my years as a Marine taught me anything, it's that. See how we're kind of name dropping our career or our field or our years of experience. Or if my age doesn't convince you that I know what I'm talking about, at least consider that I'm your grandfather and I only want the best for you. These are examples of a play. You're using title. So there's all these weird elements of power, right? So there's power that comes from title. So by being able to say, as your doctor, I recommend, or as your dentist, or as your mother-in-law, right? This idea you drop those sort of titles. So there's power that comes from title. There's power that comes from negative consequences. I can make your life miserable, right? So you think about your boss. They can not approve your time off. They can choose not to give you the nice clients and only give you the grumpy clients. So they can do negative things to you. They can reward you, give you a raise, give you that time off, things like that. And then maybe they have information power, which means they've been doing something for a long time and they know a lot about it. But the last type of power is probably the most important. And it's the one that comes, it's called referent power. It's power that comes from liking and respect. Okay. And this is the number one power we're looking to cultivate in our workplace. Referent power. When people like you and respect you, they're more likely to do, my friends, anything you want them to do. So you definitely drop in words like this, like I'm an engineer, I've been working on this project for 10 years, or I'm the VP of yada yada. You can do that in the conversation, but here's the bottom line. My liking and respect of you will cancel out any of the other powers. I don't care what your title is if I don't respect you. I don't care what you can do to me if I don't respect you. Now, this doesn't mean you become a human doormat and you're more concentrated on whether people love you all the time, but it means that people know where they stand with you. They know where they stand. They're not worried about you going into a meeting and being like, oh, this is horrible. I don't want to do anything that Johnny says today. And then you come out and you're like, okay, everybody, let's do what Johnny says. Like, people that talk out of both sides of their mouth lose respect from the people that they're around. So you want to be consistent. You want your people that you interact with to know that you have their best interests at heart. And so you want to have that conversation. So we're looking for a mix of the different powers, okay? We're looking for a mix of title and also making sure that you've earned that credibility on the back end. Because if I don't like you, I'm probably not going to do what you said. Everybody feel me on this? So this is why, my friends, we use in advertisements celebrities and sports people, because if Tiger Woods tells me to buy a certain kind of golf club, I'm more likely to buy that kind of golf club, right? Because I look at him and I say, he's an expert. He obviously knows more about this than I do. So this is why it's important for you, if say you are presenting or you're trying to get somebody, pardon me, to do something, then you want to say things like, the state of Indiana has been doing this with great success, right? You want to use these other sources to help back up your comments. And so what I have found is people who use ethos well, people who use credibility well, who don't just slam numbers at you over and over and over again, and don't just play on your emotions, right? They don't just say, oh, well, if you really loved me, you would wash the dishes, right? They tell you with logic and credibility and fairness. So that's the first one we want to think about. When you're trying to persuade someone, do you have a credible claim to get them to do whatever it is you want them to do? Okay, the next one here is pathos, which is emotion. So what might that look like? It might be saying something like, there's no price that can be placed on peace of mind. Everyone wants that. Nobody in their right mind is like, no, I want to live in chaos. Bring on the chaos. They might do that in real life, but they're not going to say, I love the chaos. They worked against everything we worked so hard to build, and they don't care who gets hurt in the process, right? If I can pit a me versus them. So you think about I don't know about you guys in Kentucky, but political ad season for primaries just happened. And there was a lot of this emotional drama, a lot of the us versus them. If you're a good person, you believe this. They're bad people, so they're for this. That's all very strategic pathos emotion. And things like, you'll make the right decision because you have something that not many people do. You have heart. I'm going to appeal the ego. Ooh, ego is so good to get people to do what you want them to do. You inflate their ego. You're smart. You're talented. You've been around the block. So here's the thing, my friends. While you're learning this, part of your brain is going, ooh, I can use this. But hopefully part of your brain is going, that's why they say that to me. Because they're trying to soften me up to do whatever it is that they want me to do. You'll never be satisfied in life if you don't seize this opportunity. I see this happen in generational stuff a lot. So in particular, as a Gen Xer, that's people in their 40s and 50s, in case you're kind of wondering. So people in their 40s and 50s, a lot of us are not eager to climb the corporate ladder. Like we're kind of happy staying in our middle ground. I want more money with less people. Like, don't make me in charge of anybody, please. And so it's really interesting to the boomers who were trained, climb, 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 grow, 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 advance, advance, advance. They're always kind of looking at the next generation down, us, and saying, don't you want to be the next governor or whatever it is? Don't you want to be the boss? And we're like, nope. And so what you'll see is this sort of tactic of like, what's wrong with you? Why don't you want to grow more, be more, develop more? And so this is part of why you've got the millennials who are coming in with this sort of like, when they're pitching this idea of I work to live, I don't live to work. They're making a lot of these sort of strands, but that's a persuasive comment too, because what it's doing is saying anyone who's all about work is not really living. You follow me on this? And we're kind of implementing these patterns over and over and over again to get people to persuade it. Or like HR, well, you could report it, but I hope it doesn't get you fired, right? I mean, yeah, of course you can report that sexual harassment, but whether people will believe you or not, there's not a lot I can do about that. That is still emotionally persuasive. If you put doubt in the head of your people about whether they should move forward or whether it's the right thing, that's persuasion. Follow me on this? So you want to be aware of these sort of things, maybe what's happening in the background. Oh, and of course, the deep Southern, we can't forget bless her heart, right? Bless her heart is definitely an emotional play, baby girl, always. If somebody ends the conversation with bless her heart, it's not because they think that person made a really good decision. Never, all right? So be wary of the bless your hearts. So when you think about this, my goodness, my computer. So when you think about emotion, there are 7 basic emotions that people have. All people have these emotions: surprise, anger, disgust, fear, interest, sadness, and happiness. Okay, call it sadfish. That is so stupid in communication language, but that's what we call it. Surprise, anger, disgust, fear, interest, sadness, happiness. Okay. And here's what's so funny. You could go to the most remote jungle of India, and in private, when people who they're close with, they will make these exact same facial expressions anywhere in the world when they feel one of these expressions. They always, like if you see anybody draw a hard line across their eyebrows, they're angry. There's no mistake in it. That's not just their face. They're angry if they move to that position. So here's the thing. If in a persuasive situation, if I can make you feel one of these or multiple of these emotions, without making it turn into a parody, then you are more likely to do, think, feel, or buy. Okay? So here's what I mean by not making it into a parody. Do you remember the ASP, I think it was Animals Rights Protection, whatever it was. Maybe it was PETA. And it was Sarah McLachlan was singing "In the Arms of the Angels," and there were dogs being panned. They were in crates and they were shaking. Now, here's the thing. If you took out that song and you took out that dramatic pause and lighting, it would literally look like your dog going down to bed for night in its crate. right? It was not, most of those dogs are not really looking all that, all that sad. But when you put the sad music and you put the sad panning and the camera angles and the colors and all of that together, right, makes you feel an emotion. So here's the thing, for me, that commercial crosses over a weird line. Like when I look at, I'm like, whatever, it's too much pathos. Follow me on this? And you can do that. You can cross over the line. But obviously it's been working because they've been running that thing for years. So they must be getting some sort of people to donate based on that. But when you hit one of the sad fish emotions, you're more likely to get people to do whatever you want. Okay. Next concept here is logic and logos. So what I have found with my now many years of working with my darling government clients, that includes you, a lot of government, a lot of engineers, a lot of very logical people think that if you have the ethos or the pathos in there, that it somehow negates it. And so what they do when they go into a presentation is basically they make the decision to drown you in numbers. Their goal is to hit you with so much content that you genuinely have no choice or time to think about whether this is really logical or not. If I keep hitting you with 9 out of 10 doctors and blah, blah, right? If I keep hitting you with numbers, then they believe, because that's how they're primarily persuaded, that you have to do it. You have to do it. All the data points that. Have you heard somebody say that before? All the data. It very obviously shows. So you hear things like this. The data is perfectly clear. More than 100 peer-reviewed studies have been conducted over the past decade. The algorithms have been run in 1,000 different ways, and the math continues to check out. He has a track record of success within this company. And then they start talking about all the things that you do. Basically, the goal of logos persuasion is to overwhelm you with the sheer volume of data. Now, here is the problem. You need this. You got to have this. If you don't have it in your presentations, then people are probably not going to do think, feel, or buy. You must have some element of logic. But here's the thing, when you think about it, you must have some level of credibility too, or it doesn't matter what your logic is. And you must have some sort of emotion so that I care enough to do whatever it is that you want me to do, think, feel, or buy. It's the mixture, you guys, of these three. So when you are speaking, you have to know your audience well enough, whether that is one person or whether that is 10 people in the room. You have to know the primary makeup of that particular person or room to know how to best persuade them. Okay, so let's say you're going into, let's do Department of Labor. Okay, so I'm going in to make a presentation for the Department of Labor, and I know that there are going to be a lot of statisticians, right? A lot of math people running those numbers. Okay, with me on this? So I'm going to be heavier on my logic in that particular presentation than I would. I'm still going to have credibility. I'm still going to have emotion. Maybe I'm going to make them outraged that people are using so much water, or, you know, whatever it is that I want them to feel. I'm going to play one of those emotions, but my logic better be heavy, because that's when we look at people, different career paths, we see that that's how different people are primarily persuaded. Okay. So like in HR, darlings, we have a tendency to be very emotionally persuaded. Emotionally and credible does more for the vast majority of people in HR, marketing, sales, right? We have a tendency to be more persuaded if you make us outraged, or you play to our ego, or we just love this idea. It's the best idea ever. It's just will make so many people happy, right? When that happens, we have an emotional reaction. So you want to think about this in any persuasion that you're doing. When you are sitting down to talk to somebody, do you have strong credibility? If you don't personally have it, who can you borrow it from, right? Is there a celebrity? Is there someone else who's done the research that you can do a basic citation on, okay, to get them, more people to believe you? Do they feel something emotionally? Are they happy about it? Are they sad about it? If you're not thinking about whether your people should be happy about this content or sad about this content or fearful of this content, then you won't address it correctly. You've got to make sure you think about all those things. Do not just sit there with your sexual harassment yearly content and just run numbers at people all day. Don't do that. Sexual harassment is highly, highly emotional. So same thing you can't do on the other side. You can't run completely emotion on that. You're going to have to hit people with logic. You're going to have to talk about credible cases where it's taken down companies or businesses or things like that. You have to appeal to all three sides. Everybody get this concept? Now, I've just handed you the keys to the kingdom, friend, because now you will, your spouse is about to hate you because you're about to be able to talk circles around them. Because here's the thing, for me, I don't have a conversation unless I know what my three main tenets are on this. If I'm going to try to get someone to do it, sometimes I'll sit down and write it out and be like, I'm going to play this, and this in order to get them to do whatever it is. But you need to make sure that you have all those elements involved. Okay. Now, let's move on to the next side of that. So now you've perfectly constructed your words, but here's the problem. 93% of all communication and meaning is from your nonverbal communication. So we just spent the first half of this presentation, you guys, on 7% of your actual ability to persuade, because only 7% of any communication you do is the words themselves. Everything else is how you look when you say it, how you stand, how you move, what time of day is it, how loud are you, how quickly did you talk. All of these other things are what makes persuasion persuasion. So let's think about this. I can use the exact same words and it mean totally different things, right? So for example, let's just use the words come here, okay? So if I whisper it to my friend and I use my finger, right? And I can say, come here, right? And that's going to be I've got the goods, come here, I've got some good office gossip, walk over here. Or I can do come here, or I can say come here. That means three totally different things, doesn't it? You are talking about three totally different things. So let's make sure that we think about that along the way. Okay, the next thing I want you to think about when you are working to persuade people of nonverbal communication is the first thing I want you really paying attention to is what's called chronemics, which is the time of the day that you're having the conversation. So everybody is good at different times of the day. Right? Everybody with me? You would agree with that? Everybody's better at different times of the day. So we have three different terms for this. The first term is called the sparrow. So people who are sparrows are good in the morning. So I'm a sparrow, P.S. by the way. I'm good from about 6 o'clock in the morning, and by 2 o'clock, I'm absolute garbage. Like, don't have it. Please, the fact that you still have to work 3 hours after you're at your peak performance is just the worst concept ever. So sparrows are people who are good from 6 until about 2. They start to peter out. Okay. Then the other side of that are people we call owls. And owls get rolling good around 4 p.m. every day. So this is why I don't know if any of you have anybody that they always seem like they stay late at the office. Some of that is because they haven't been able to get any of their actual work done because they just start getting rolling good around 4. So from 4 usually till around between midnight and 1, that's sort of the best time of the day for those people, the owls. And then there's the people in the middle. This is the stupidest name ever, but we call them sprowls. Sprowls, and they're a mixture of the sparrows and the owls. And sprowls are good from about 10 o'clock in the morning till about 5 o'clock in the day. Okay, so why does this even matter? Well, remember when I was talking to you about building those profiles of people? So this is part of your profile that you're going to build from now on. From now on, whenever I'm working with Larry Gillis, I'm not only going to know what he does with his arms when he's mad, right? Or what he does with his face, or how he's best persuaded. Is he more about logic or emotion or credibility? I'm also going to figure out what time of the day I need to tell him whatever I need to tell him. Because if Larry is like me and he's a sparrow, if you come to him at 4 o'clock, I don't want to talk to you about it anymore. If you have that exact same conversation with me at 9, I'm in, I'm engaged, I'm going to be loving it. It's going to be fabulous. But you can't have that conversation with me at 3, okay, or 4. Everybody got that concept? You get the idea of chronemics? Okay. The next one is proxemics, which is how closely you stand. So I don't know if any of you are Seinfeld fans, but he used to talk about the idea of the close talker, that there are certain people that just stand too close to you when you talk. So this is really interesting because proxemics is determined by culture. Where you grew up, not even like where you are now, where you grew up has a huge impact on how closely you stand towards other people. And then also things like your gender. So we know that women have a tendency to stand more closely towards other women when they're talking. Men have a tendency to have more distance. Aggressive men put significantly more distance between them than other people do. So that's another thing for you to think about. But most Americans, okay, use what we call the 2-foot rule. So you've heard the concept of holding someone's at arm's distance, at arm's length? That's literally 2 feet. So most people are comfortable talking from that distance. If you get into the 18 inches, for me, you better be about to hit me or kiss me. There is no other reason for you to be 18 inches from my face. Okay, everybody follow me on this? So I want to make sure that you're thinking about that along the way. All right. So don't go too close. Don't go too far away. The next thing is paralanguage. So paralanguage are your vocal additions. So here's what I mean by that. How loudly you talk versus how softly you talk is one of the big ones. How quickly you talk versus how slowly you talk. All of these change the meanings on things. Or what they do is they build rapport. Everybody with me on this? The idea of rapport. So here's what I mean. People like people that are like them. Say that again. People like people that are like them. If I'm a loud talker, guess what I like? I like other loud talkers. They know what they want. They know how they feel and they express themselves openly. But what do soft talkers think about loud talkers? Well, they're just annoying. Why you got to be so loud all the time? Fast talkers like fast talkers. You think fast, you're smart. Slow talkers are like, not to be trusted, those fast talkers. So when you are speaking to people and you're trying to persuade them, then we want to, as closely as possible, without seeming like you're mimicking anybody, as closely as possible, you want to
Kristen?
Okay. So we must have lost her for a moment.
She has texted me she's on her way back. It
Okay.
locked her out for some reason on her end. Everyone stand by while she's trying to reconnect.
You have my face now too.
Yeah, you fixed everything. Glad to have you back.
I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Now I don't know where I lost you guys. That's the sad part.
This was so good too.
Oh, I mean, you're just being persuasive right now. Okay. Hey, can you remind me, Robbie, did you hear about chronemics or proxemics or paralanguage? Do you remember any of this stuff?
Paralanguage, yeah, I remember that.
Okay, great. Super. Well, then we'll move on to facial expressions because we are almost done and we can get into some Q&A. So the other thing is that when it comes to persuade,
reshare your presentation, please.
Okay. Yep. Let me reload that baby. Sorry, y'all. This is just what happens, right? This is the world we currently live in. How about now? You got it now?
No.
It's got a little red line around it.
I can see it, Robbie.
Okay. I got it now.
Perfect. Okay, sorry. Okay, let's move into facial expressions real quick too, because mine is very smiley, but it's weird. So, so when you were doing facial expressions, okay, when you're persuading people, here's one of the big things I need to teach you guys. You ready? Your face needs to match the emotion you're wanting them to have, because energy transfers. Say that again. Energy transfers. So if I am super nervous, as you might know, nerves are the most contagious disease in the world, okay? If I'm super nervous about having to have a conversation with somebody and it's showing in my face, maybe I'm almost very blank, I don't smile or raise my eyebrow or tilt my head to show that I am indeed listening to you. If I'm not doing any of those things, then they're going to start to catch whatever it is I've got. So here's the thing. If I want to persuade Robbie to do whatever it is I want him to do, and I want him to think yes or vote yes or take action, I'm going to nod my head as much as I can while I'm talking to him. Because what you do subliminally is you say, that's a good idea. All the things Kristen is teaching me about ethics and about persuasion are brilliant, and she is fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to nod my head more when I'm persuading people. If I don't want people to do something, I'm going to make sure that I'm not going to keep it all the time because then I look like a weird metronome. But when you are trying to get someone to not do something, when you're talking about, especially the ethos, the pathos side of it, the emotional side of it, you really want to make sure that your facial expressions, you should be disgusted by this, or you should find this very distasteful, right? We want to make sure that we're mirroring in our facial expressions what we want them to do. And this is, for many people, quite an issue, because what I have learned is there are a lot of people who pay no attention to the 93% of their message. They don't pay attention to how loud they are. They don't pay attention to the fact that their face looks angry all the time. They don't, right? They're not paying attention to the messages that they're sending across. And here's another little, I feel like I keep giving you great little quotes you could put on your wall, but here's a big one. You cannot not communicate. You cannot not communicate. You cannot stop yourself from communicating. If I walk into a room, let's say I walk into a room for a meeting with Robbie, and Robbie is dead asleep on the table. He doesn't even know that Kristen has walked into the room. Has he communicated something to me? You bet. He doesn't even know I exist, and he still communicated something. Because now I can look at it and go, oh, Robbie doesn't want to be here, or oh, Robbie's sick, or oh, Robbie doesn't like me, and that's why he's taking a pre-nap, pump up so that he can deal with me, right? I get to determine the meaning. You're always sending messages. So to be a great communicator, my friend, you have got to begin paying attention not only to how you're constructing your persuasion, but what are you doing with your face? What are you doing with your arms? Are you standing in the the Peter Pan, or are you crossed up high, or are your eyebrows always drawn like you're really irritated with anything anyone ever says to you? Like, you got to think about these things if you want to be a great communicator. And here's I think the best thing about my field, you never have to stop learning this. You can always be polishing up and learning and working on a new element of your ability to persuade other people, to communicate effectively, to resolve conflict, to be a better listener. Like, you never, ever have to stop. You never should stop, but you never, ever have to stop. You can always find one thing and say, okay, I'm going to work on not looking like I want to have a root canal every time I'm in a meeting. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work on my face for the next few days or for the next month or whatever it is. You don't have to do everything I've taught you all at once. You can choose, okay, I've done a lot of logic in the past. And so now I'm going to try to start thinking about how I'm going to work in credibility, because I like that one. I feel a little more comfortable with that. This is the great part about communication, is it doesn't matter what your career field is. It doesn't matter what you do. You can always be growing and developing and being intentional about this particular field. All right, remember, ethics. I need you to use your new skill for good and not evil. And beyond that, I want you to begin becoming a critical, here's another one of my catchphrases, a critical consumer of information. And if you have children, in my opinion, one of the most important skills you can teach them is to make them a critical consumer of information. So that when that Instagram ad pops up, or when that Twitter announcement comes up, they learn to be a healthy level of skeptical. That they look at things and they say, and you do this too, but they look at this and say, what elements of ethos, pathos, and logos are people trying to use to get me to do what they want me to do? And what benefit is it to them? When you can start doing that, advertising doesn't have nearly the impact. Political ads don't have nearly the impact. You want to be thinking about this whenever you are deconstructing arguments. But becoming a good critical consumer of information is actually key to becoming a good person, a good communicator, a good listener. All of those things come together. So use that skill for good and not evil. All right. The last things I want to tell you real quick, and then we'll do questions, is be careful of rhetorical fallacies. And these are just three. There's like so many of them, but here's three of my favorites. The first one is what's called the ad hominem. So when you're talking to somebody and all of a sudden they start to attack your personal character, please realize that is a diversionary tactic. That's a diversionary tactic. That's a persuasive tactic. If I am talking about a topic and I know that I don't have enough data to actually back that up or persuade you to do something, then what I'm going to do is go attack the person. That should be a red flag for you. If you're talking to somebody and you're trying to address a situation, maybe other people find them condescending. Let's use that from a manager perspective. People have come to you in HR and they said, I feel like my boss is condescending. And you go and you tell the people, okay, so you're having that conversation, and they say, so some of the people that are working under you feel like you're being condescending. Here's the things I think you can do to change tactics to help. And they immediately start telling you every bad thing about the people that they work with and how they also have character flaws. That's an ad hominem. That person is not interested in getting better. They're not interested in correcting their behavior. They're interested in winning the conversation. So when you do that, there's a great method on all three of these, for those of you that have written them down, all three of these that's worked, and it's called the broken record method. And the idea is this: you basically put a pin in whatever they say and you circle back around. So you say, okay, I can see that you're frustrated with me and you feel under attack. And so you want to take it out on me, and that's fine. That is a normal emotion to have. But right now we're talking about this. So we can come back to my personal character issues, but right now we're talking about the fact that your employees find you condescending. Well, I've been working at this company for 36 years and no one's ever told me that before. Okay, you've been working here a long time and that's great. And I'm not sure why no one's approached you about this, and I'm sorry that happened. But right now we're talking about the fact that the current employees you have are finding you condescending, right? You have to keep coming back around. Broken record method almost always works, especially with teenagers that don't load the dishwasher or take out the trash. So use that method. Don't let yourself get distracted. Don't let them do a personal attack on you, and then you completely abandon your argument to try to defend yourself. Don't do that. The whole point of the conversation was to get the person to fix whatever it is that you needed them to do. Same thing with red herring. If they introduce a totally different topic, put a pin on it. Okay, we'll come back and we'll talk about whatever that is. But right now we're talking about the fact that the dishwasher is not loaded. Last one I want to kind of introduce you to that you want to be real cautious of is what's called a slippery slope. And so what happens here is, like, you, in particular, you get these in high school from your parents, or you use them towards your kids, where you say things like, well, you can go out with Jim if you want to, but if Jim takes you to a party and there's alcohol there and then the police come, then chances are you would be arrested. And if you're arrested, you're going to have a hard time getting a scholarship. And if you don't get a scholarship, then you won't have a degree. And before long, you're going to end up living in a van down by the river, right? Like, they take you from, I want to go out with a friend, to you are now homeless, right? Be wary of these people that take you on a slippery slope. Is it effective? Yes, that's the problem, friends. That's why there's an ethical issue, is because all of these tactics work beautifully well. They just aren't necessarily ethical. So I'm teaching you more about how to defend yourself against them and encouraging you to use them, because from a persuasive standpoint, we're pretty darn good. Okay, so we've got a little bit of time for questions and answers. If you haven't, oh, actually, that's the wrong website. My website now is GenY.com. Sorry, just GenY.com. If you go over to Gen Y Communications, I'm not sure it even goes to that anymore. But you can also catch me on any social media. I would love to link up with you on LinkedIn. For those people, there's a lot of you that follow me on that. You know, I've been on a kick lately of doing silly, funny videos that are work related, just to give you a break in your LinkedIn field, give you a little chuckle. But I would love to link up with you on LinkedIn and find out more about you. And the last thing I want to say, just real quick, is that I have, for those of you that are kind of looking to improve your communication skills, I have launched a public speaking, an completely 100% online public speaking class. If you want to learn more about that, you can go to tinyurl, launch fearless, or you can scan that. And I did make a code specifically for your folks. Ignore that part where it says when it expires. 15% off if you want to look at that. But if you want to improve your public speaking and you want to be a little bit better at this, definitely go check out the class. It's a good class, and I think actually there's some people that you have that are already doing that. So okay, well, it's question answer time for me. If you want to take a picture of this slide beforehand, so go check it out and just see if you want to improve that skill. I would love to help you with that. But otherwise, it's question answer time. So what do you got for me? I'm sure there's some people who have put some questions in the online on the question answer. Renata, what's out there?
Okay, people are on a delay, so give a few seconds, Kristen.
Okay, absolutely. I can't necessarily tell you how to deal with your one super weird person, but I'll do my best. Right? Everybody has that one person, they're like, how do I deal with this jerk? And I'm like, I don't know. You might just have to smile and nod a lot.
All right, first question. Do you have any tips for observant leadership in a virtual world?
Okay, so one of the first tips I would tell you if you want to be a better leader is you never give bad news without a face involved. That's sort of my rule. If it's going to be bad news, I got to have your face. So even if you're going to get them on a Zoom, don't send any negative news or news that could be misconstrued as negative through an email, through a text, through anything like that. If somebody's going to potentially freak out about it, you put your face on it. Okay? So that's where I'm like, yay, have more meetings. That's one of the only times I want you to have more meetings, is when crazy negative stuff is happening, because people need to see. Remember, 93% of all of your meaning is from your nonverbals. So they need to hear your voice. They need to see your face. They need to get the persuasion of you nodding your head like I taught you. They need all of those elements in order to be better persuaded. So that would be one of the first big keys I'd say, is that when you are leading other people, if it could be construed as negative, you need to put your face on it. Okay? Not just your voice behind it, put your face on it. Okay? Another thing that I will tell you is that there is a thing called Zoom fatigue, and it is very, very real. So if you are having a lot of meetings where everybody is on the screen, know what happens is that people who are more empaths, right? Those of us that are reading all the nonverbals all the time are getting mentally exhausted the more people's faces we have to see. And so it's actually harder for people to tune in on your content when there are a lot of faces on the screen. So you want to use that wisely, whether you want to have people on the screen or not. Don't use your video screens as a way of forcing people to be engaged, right? If people are not going to be engaged, they're not going to be engaged. And you seeing their face not being engaged is just going to make you more mad. Like it's going to have the opposite effect of what everybody wants. So realize that if it's something you need to go deep in content-wise and you need to lead people on that it's actually better for you to have fewer video screens on and not put a chance of Zoom fatigue. Because if I'm trying to listen to you and I'm reading everybody's nonverbals about whether they're engaged or whether they're bored or whether they're on the phone, whatever it is, then I'm not going to give you my full brain. So that's one of the big keys I'd say in a virtual world is if it's bad news, it deserves your face. And be careful about Zoom fatigue. Don't just force people to have their face on the screen all the time because you want to see if they're working. The kind of tandem on that would be don't hire people you don't trust. I mean, if they, you know what I mean? Like anybody that if you don't keep, maybe not, hiring is a little bit harder, right? You make sure you're using your interviews to figure out if people, I'm giving you like 58 things all of a sudden. So here's the thing. In your interviews, you need to stop just going over people's resumes. That is a colossal waste of time. The bot has already sorted them to you. You know they check all the boxes or they wouldn't be sitting in your office or having a Zoom or thing with you. Stop asking them things like, what are your strengths and weaknesses? What? I teach them that. That's literally my job as a communications professor, is to tell them exactly what to say to that weird question that you ask them. Instead, what you need to do is figure out if that person has two key things. Are you ready? I need them to be teachable and I need them to be tolerable. And all of my interview time with any human that I'm looking at right now is to figure out, can they learn new things? Are they teachable? Do they have to have their way? All of my questions are going to be around discovering that information. Okay. And then are they tolerable? Can they get along with the team that is currently in place? Do they fill a hole that needs to be filled? Right. But I need to figure out things like, are you selfless? Are you a good listener? Can you self-regulate, right? Can you come into work in a bad mood and still pump yourself up to work? I need way more of that than them giving you the, well, my weakness is I just care too much. I just work too hard on projects. I tell them what to say on that kind of stuff. You're wasting your time. You need to figure out if this person is teachable and tolerable. So that's the same sort of thing. When you've got people in your team now, especially virtual, if you can't trust them, then they're not teachable and tolerable, are they? And so now I need to figure out whether I really need to keep that person. Do I need to coach them up or coach them out? Right? One of those two things is probably going to need to happen. But if you've got somebody that just is toxic to your environment, especially if they're toxic virtually, I would say that's a huge part of why a lot of people are bouncing. Other questions?
I think that's it, Kristen.
That's it. Oh, well, here's the thing. You can always send me questions. You can link up with me on LinkedIn, or you can go to my website at genY.com. And I'm happy to continue this conversation with you. Good luck growing your persuasion and your influence. It is a game changer. When you start to learn how to do these things, you will find yourself significantly less irritated with everybody around you. And who doesn't want that? Okay, well, I'm done with you. Thanks, you guys. Sorry about the weird little glitch in the middle of the day, but I hope you keep learning and have so much fun.
Thank you. No problem. Everyone's accustomed after 2.5 years now of technical glitches with these virtual meetings, but yet the message still gets out. We are still running the Commonwealth and running the IPMA Kentucky chapter, and we consider you an honorary member now. We always appreciate your enthusiasm, energy, and your content. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Sure. Go use it for good and not evil.
Very good. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Did you have a giveaway? Did you have a giveaway?
Do I have a giveaway?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will totally give away one of my classes.
All right. We have our wheel of names that we're going to spin for the giveaway.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, no, you'll love it. It's so much fun. It's a great, really, I mean, obviously I made it, so I think it's good, but it really is very good. If you want to improve your public speaking, whether you hate it and you never do it, or whether you are an expert and are looking for maybe more recent tricks, because remember I teach this for college, then yeah, it's a great class. Okay, you spinning? Who's spinning?
All right,
Right.
I am prepping. Okay, so 1, 2, 3.
Oh, there it is. Woo!
What's that? Gloria Fuqua?
Fuqua.
Fuqua.
That's my guess. It's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous name.
Congratulations.
Also, yeah, if you can just get me her contact information, and I will give her the full access to that online public speaking class. Fearless Public Speaking is what it's called.
All right.
Great, thank you very much.
Oh no, thank you guys. I enjoy being with you always, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Kristen.
Bye.
All right, guys. Sorry about all the glitches, but hey, hopefully this is our last virtual meeting if we can start doing our in-person stuff without these smart computers. At this time, we'll have Robbie. He will introduce our personnel cabinet leaders and updates.
All right, very good. It is my pleasure to introduce the next leaders of the Personnel Cabinet for Personnel Cabinet updates. We always appreciate the strong partnership between the Kentucky chapter of IPMA-HR and the Personnel Cabinet. And we always love to hear from them. And I'd like to introduce by reading the bios of all three of our next presenters. First up will be Secretary Jarena D. Weathers. Has accumulated over 17 years in public service for the Commonwealth of Kentucky. She served as Executive Director for the Attorney General's Office of Senior Protection and Mediation, where she was responsible for creating this grassroots division under the leadership of Andy Bashir. Prior, she served as Executive Director in the Office of Victims Advocacy at the Office of the Attorney General. Before her service at the Attorney General's office, she accumulated 10 years of service working on criminal cases in Jefferson County. Secretary Weathers currently oversees the Kentucky Personnel Cabinet's employee wellness and engagement programs, professional development initiatives, and the Governor's Lead Conference. She has also been named one of the Kentucky Gazette's 2020 Notable Women in Kentucky Politics and Government. Secretary Weathers received her Bachelor's of Arts in Political Science at the University of Louisville and her Juris Doctorate from the Brandeis School of Law. Executive Director Vicki Smiley Stone comes to the Personnel Cabinet after having owned a public relations, community engagement, and diversity and inclusion programming company for over 20 years. Throughout her tenure as a business owner, she served as the consultant to local, national, and international clients and has worked on a wide variety of projects, the largest of which was the Louisville Metro Housing Authority's $200 million Park Revitalization Hope 6 project. Vicki has a bachelor's degree in communications from the University of Louisville, master's degree from Kentucky State University, diversity and inclusion for Human Resources certification from Cornell University, and she is the graduate of the Leadership Louisville Bingham Fellows Program. Commissioner Raina Diaz-Dempsey began her public service career in the Personnel Cabinet over 27 years ago. After 14 years in the life and health insurance areas of the Personnel Cabinet, she went on to serve for 12 years in the Cabinet for Health and Family Services in different capacities, including Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Medicaid Services and Staff Assistant for the Kentucky Health Benefit Exchange, Connect. Raina also served as Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Insurance in the Public Protection Cabinet before returning to the Personnel Cabinet in July of 2020 as Commissioner of the Department of Employee Insurance. Commissioner Diaz-Dempsey holds a bachelor's degree in computer science and a master's degree in public administration from Kentucky State University. She is a native of Honduras, Central America, and lives in Frankfurt with her family. So it is my pleasure to not only introduce these wonderful three leaders of the Personnel Cabinet, but to share with you on the executive staff at Personnel Cabinet. It's my pleasure to work and serve with these individuals. And with that, I am going to turn it over to Secretary Weathers. Secretary?
Robbie, thank you so much. Can you hear me?
We can.
Great.
I'm going to transition to your presentation now, so I'll give you time to give your open while I do that.
And thank you, Robbie, and thank you, Ms. Simmons, and thank you for IPMA, the HR section for the Commonwealth of Kentucky. I just want to thank you for everything that you can continue to do. And I was able to see a few of the programs yesterday in sessions. They're wonderful. And I don't say that lightly. I'm sharing with you that you keep it up to date, you keep things very relevant. So I appreciate you all. I also appreciate all of those that'll be speaking today, in addition to just the beautiful people that are here that are participating. Thank you all for allowing us to be here. And we can go on to the next slide then, Robbie. And I also want to just thank you to IPMA again. I think everyone is aware there is nothing like the Commonwealth. I've been here almost all my life. The military actually brought us here. And the great thing about our Commonwealth for 4.4 million people, there's over 120 counties. And it's literally like individual families. So unfortunately, what happened in December is that we had a devastating tornado that hit Western Kentucky. And Personnel Cabinet family, not surprising, through the First Lady, she had created one of the biggest toy drives that we've seen through state government. Toy drive for our children in Western Kentucky, along with our families, with gift certificates and books and things like that, and items, just to try to get them through December. And I wanted to just share that IPMA came out and represented in a big way. They always understand their assignment, and they partnered with us and allowed us to be with them as they shared several $100s, in gift cards for our families in Western Kentucky. So this is what you all represent. So it's not surprising, but I just wanted to personally thank you for everything that you continue to do. And it was pretty exciting for me to be able to see it firsthand. Next slide, please. And I just shared with you about our Personnel Cabinet family. There is nothing like being able to come in 3 weeks before national pandemic. And I know there's been a lot going on, but I want to share with you one thing. There is nothing like being able, especially in HR, we are adaptable and we shift and we do what we need to do. And that's with all the cabinets and all of state government. And I cannot say enough about this leadership and guidance that we have through the Kentucky Personnel Cabinet. We are small but mighty of about 162 people. But of course, as you can see down at that lower number there, that we serve over close to 300,000 people as it relates to our Kentucky Employee Health Plan. And then we have 29,000 in our executive branch. We are excited about what is to come. So I just wanted to share with you what we have done in the past couple of years. And I can share with you, I think many of us say this, especially in the HR arena and industry. If you could tell us 2 years ago that we would be shifting and moving towards different directions, we probably could not say what we're saying today and the things that we have to do, because this world is different. I remember my mother always say is that there's no such thing as going back to normal. It's shifting. It's shifting to something that we have to do to make sure that we can embrace the communities that we serve. Next slide, please, because I'm going to be real quick because we've got some superstars that are going to speak today for personnel. It's an extraordinary group, and as you can see, there's a lot of things going on that we service right here in personnel. Those are different offices. I'll share with you, can't do it without Robbie. I always joke about how Robbie brought me to life online. I mean, because if it were up to me, I'm telling you, you would never be able to see me. I'm learning how to push buttons and do act teams and all kinds of things. As Kristen had said, I'm part of Gen X. I just want to make sure to get it done and get it done right. But I'm learning a lot, and through Robbie's team, and you see through legal services, they take care of us. We got a brand new mediation group that you heard from yesterday with Donna. That is something that I sat down and we talked with the group, and we knew that that's something that we needed. Our Office of Public Affairs, you'll hear a little bit more about that in the near future. We're updating websites. I don't want to say too much about Vicki and her group with the Diversity of Equality and Training, because she'll share that with you. Then through our administrative services and government services centers, we've got different types of trainings that we never thought we'd do. We started with trainings a couple of years ago, just etiquette online and being able to speak to folk and how you do that. And then we moved on to just several amounts of mental health webinars, just how to breathe. I think we've heard that a couple of times, and being able to take care of ourselves. The Department of Employee Relations and Human Resources, we do our, we've got everything from our deferred comp that we take care of everyone on the states to how we share monies that we have to be able to support our state employees who have adopted recently. And in addition to that, we've got, of course, our human resource group that is right now, we are dealing we're in it to win it, to share with you all in the near future what it looks like as far as our statistics on compensation and training. So there's a lot going on, but I do want to share this. Next slide, please. I want to just from since what we've been doing, it's an extraordinary cabinet, but Robbie and his team, so let me just say some kudos to them. Last year that we were able to garner an award from NASB, which is our National Association of our HRs, the first of its kind, that we have our own personnel cabinet app. And we are the only ones that have done it at the time. So now Robbie is helping other states to do that. Our Kentucky Public Employees Deferred Compensation Plan, they won an international award, and that had a lot to do with plan design and administration. We are now able to give our state employees different kind of webinars. We just had a webinar not too long ago on retirement and savings and just different things that matter to us. So that's what our cabinet is doing. I also want to share with you that it's a new day. So you heard us that we were called about shifting. We are in the midst of reflection and change. Things are different, and it does not look the way it did 2 to 3 years ago. So we understand that, and we are embracing it, and we're learning as we go along. So as we do that, we know that there's a different kind of workforce. You heard Kristen talk about the Great Resignation. It's real. The Department of Labor statistics shared with us that the jobs, as far as people shifting and moving and leaving their jobs, went from 164,000 people in 2020 to 94,000 in 2020, and it increased to 164,000 people who have left or changed their jobs in 2021. So those are things that we have not seen before. But what's happening is that people understand that when we merge our personal lives with our work lives, we've got to see what's going to be important to us. So we have to refine state government to make sure that this is not my words, these are Vicki's words, becoming an employer of choice. It's so important that we continue to partner with our private sector and partner with other cabinets and partner with the other organizations, because we actually are learning together. So that's what we're doing. Our next slide, please. Ms. Eldridge had shared yesterday, if some of you all were here, she shared that there needs to be another type of energy that we bring to ourselves and to others. And we can't say that enough. It's an energy of wanting to be here. It's an energy of loving state government, but it's also an energy of change. We understand we have to accept it. So these are the things that we're doing now, expanding our social media presence. I keep joking about that, but now I know what. Yeah, I act like I'm 90 years old, but hey, I didn't use Twitter before I got here. And understanding that's how some generations and other folk talk with one another. And our LinkedIn recruitment and interviewing different preferences for our veterans and their spouses and diversity outreach and being able to go to different colleges. We've always done that, but now we're reinventing and revigorizing what we do. And we cannot thank the participants that are listening today. We can't do it without you. We are the front lines, and we are open to hearing new things and new services that you might want to see. New challenges, but there are also new opportunities, as I always say, that you can always look at the glass half empty. But what's the fun in that? There's just a lot of things that we have to do, that we need to do, because we want to leave it better than we found it. And so we're excited about what's the next initiative. Next slide, please. And then it's dealing with the partnerships, and we're working together as one community. This is how we're going to do it. My purpose has been re-engaged. We're doing a lot more different things. Let's see, next slide, please. And our employee resource groups, you'll hear about all of that. And I just want to end by saying thank you, thank you, thank you to you, and thank you for who you are. We talk about recruitment, but we also talk about retainment. There are many of us, and I'm now hitting 20 years in state government. There are many of us are here because we believe in what it is. Because we know now that we can move around if we wanted to and leave. But there are many of us that are here. And I want to thank you for what you do and what you continue to do. I will not introduce these two powerhouses that are coming to you. All I can share with you is I want to just personally thank you, Raina. Thank you, Vicki. For everything that you continue to do. And I know you've heard that before, but from the bottom of my heart, I'm just so glad that you're part of the Personnel Cabinet family. So without further ado, I'll move this on to Ms. Vicki Stone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Secretary.
I believe, oh, there I am. Hello, everyone. Good morning. And thank you, Secretary Weathers, for that very, very awesome introduction and appreciation for the work that we're doing here in Odette. But today I'm here to talk about the LEAD conference, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you all about it. And we're so excited about the conference. We're working on an impressive lineup of speakers who promise to be both thought-provoking and inspiring. We hope you will join us November 16th through the 18th, again, for the LEAD conference. You're going to be hearing a lot more about it, seeing a lot more about it. Russell and his team are doing a fabulous job in terms of marketing and promotion. So you'll be hearing a lot about the various aspects of the conference, who will be speaking, some of the topics we'll be covering as we move along closer to November. To purchase tickets, please go to kylead.ky.gov. If you have any questions, please feel free to call us in the Office of Diversity, Equality, and Training. And that's my short commercial for LEAD, and I'm going to turn it over now back to Robbie to introduce the conference promotional video. Robbie, please.
Thank you, Vicki. All right, at this time, I am happy to introduce Commissioner Raina Diaz-Dempsey.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Can you hear me? We're
Can.
good? Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, Secretary. Oh, we're playing the video again. No?
I'm trying to switch over to your presentation.
All right. It sounded more dramatic, you know, with the background music, so I'll take it. So I'll wait for the slides in just a second then to come up, but I just want to thank everyone. All right. I just wait. There we go. Yay. Good job, Robbie. I think we're good, right? So thank you all so much for this opportunity to talk to you a little bit about the Department of Employee Insurance and what we have to offer. I am just thrilled to be speaking to this group of HR professionals, and like Secretary and Vicky talk to you about Kentucky is, and Kentucky state government, our goal is to be an employer of choice. And of course, as commissioner of the Department of Employee Insurance, I strongly believe that having a very strong, high quality, affordable package of benefits, it's crucial for our potential employees and just for even ourselves, our employees right now, to have that available to us. I think it's a very, very strong tool that we can use to retain a competent and diverse and qualified workforce. So I'm really thrilled to have this opportunity to talk to you about some of the things that we're doing at the Department of Employee Insurance and some of these benefits that are just so important for our workforce. So if we can turn to the next slide, Robbie, please. I always like to bring up the goals of the department because these goals are the is what brings us and takes us on that path to what we're doing next. So when we plan our benefits, when we talk about health insurance, life insurance, all of the benefits that we offer, we always keep these goals in mind because it's just they guide our path, they guide our reasoning, they guide everything that we do here to see what it is that next thing that we have to offer. So as part of our goals, we want to offer high quality and cost-effective benefits, of course, and to make sure that we keep those premiums at a reasonable level. We try, we are trusted here with ensuring that we have a stable financial stand for our trust fund, and that's also what we always are looking for. We try to improve our members, which is all of us, our members' health and well-being. We try to increase engagement. That is really, really important for us to make sure that members are engaged in the programs that we have to offer. And we, of course, always try to find those programs that will meet the needs of our population. So I always like to bring up the goals because these goals direct everything that we do in the Department of Employee Insurance. Moving on to the next slide, I know that many of you listening to this conference today are probably very familiar with what we offer, but I just wanted to list what we offer in the department and what we're in charge of administering. So first, we have the Kentucky Employees Health Plan, which is our health insurance plan. We are a self-insured plan, which means that we take the risk when it comes to claims. We also administer our COBRA, our flexible spending accounts, and our health reimbursement arrangements. We administer the group life insurance program, as well as the dental and vision benefits that all of you in this conference have available to you. Now, both the group life and dental and vision programs are fully insured programs, which means that it's the insurance company who bears the risk of the claims. And like I mentioned, this is important because this package of good benefits are just crucial in retaining our workforce, and just it puts us a step, ahead and forward to trying to achieve the goal of Kentucky becoming an employer of choice. So we're really proud of what we administer now, and we do this with as you know, we're all state employees, so we do this with a very small group, a group of 47 individuals that are state employees dedicated to make this work. But today I am going to focus, and if we move to the next slide, Robbie, please, we're going to focus our attention in the largest program that we administer, and that is the Kentucky Employees Health Plan. Health insurance, it's crucial, not just for us, but everywhere in the nation. Every day we use health insurance. So it is really, really, really important. I wanted to show you some numbers, like it was in the next slide. That was good. There you go. Just to show you some numbers. And Secretary Weathers mentioned this a little bit on her slides, but we have 181,000 active employees and retirees. We cover our retirees as well under the age of 65. When we add the dependents to that group, we are at almost 296,000 members. That makes up 7% of the entire population of the state. So it's a rather large number of individuals that we offer this benefit and administer this benefit for. I like this distribution by employer table that you have in front of you, because I think many times, and we think of the executive branch, and we do. I mean, that's our goal, right? That's our function to take care of our state agencies. But when it comes to the health plan, we expand and we go so much further. State agencies actually only make up 18% of those almost 300,000 members. So most of our membership is school boards employees at 52%, and we have retirees under 65, and that includes the KPPA retirees, the teachers retirement, judicial and legislative retirees. All of them comprise 24% of the population that we serve. So it's a huge, when we talk about health plan and our membership, we have to think in terms of so many people around the state. So I thought that's always good to see, like I said, to see how far our reach is when it comes to the health plan. In the next slide, this is one of my my favorite slides, because I wanted to talk a little bit about how we, I told you earlier, we are a self-insured plan, so we are responsible for how we spend every penny. And this slide shows that so well. The health plan is a 1.9 billion, that's with a B, billion annual plan spent. Now, we are reaching the 2 billion mark now. In the next couple of years, we will be at that. So it just keeps growing and growing. Of course, health insurance keeps increasing. But this slide, like I said, it's just such a good representation of how well this plan is managed. And it's not me. I've only been here a couple of years, but we have an amazing team that has been working on this for many years. So I want you to just take a look at this slide and look at of that almost $2 billion that we gather and we collect every year. 95% of that goes to just the payment of actual claims, whether it's medical claims, prescription drug claims, and HRA claims, but it actually goes out to paying for services, for specific services. 4.5% of that goes to paying our vendors, and we have lots of vendors, but our biggest vendors are, you know, our third-party administrator, which is Anthem. We have our pharmacy benefits manager, which is CVS, and then we have another bigger one, which is our wellness partner, which is WebMD this year. So 4.5% goes to paying those fees, and that leaves 0.5 percentage for operating expenses. And of that, that's always really interesting to me, that DEI or employee salaries are less than 1/4 penny of every dollar that we spend, less than 1/4 penny. So what this shows us, truly, what we can take from this is a really efficiently administered plan. And it's good. I'm very, very proud of it. Like I said, nothing that I have done. It's just an exceptional group of individuals managing this plan here. And I don't think that you will see any other or too many other organizations, corporations, maybe some non-for-profit. I doubt it, with this level of efficiency when it comes to how we spend the money that we collect. So like I said, one of my favorite slides, just because it shows that that we are doing really well when it comes to managing the program. So in the next slide, I'll show you a few. What it's really interesting to me, sometimes when you talk about $2 billion, it's hard to put it in perspective because those amounts are so out of our everyday reality, I guess. But just a couple, 3 numbers here to share with you. We pay $7.6 million a year. This is the number of claims that we pay. Now, like I said in the previous slide, 95% of what we spend goes to the payment of those claims. That it equals to $1.6 billion. But this next square here, it really kind of brings it home for me. That means that every single day, for almost $4.5 million is what we're paying to somebody, to providers, to somebody out in the state. $4.5 million almost every single day, not working days, 365 days, we're paying $4.5 million every day comes out of this little agency here. So that's just pretty amazing. But, and then we'll move to the next slide. All of those numbers, they're great. And health insurance is crucial, it's vital. We need it. We need to have a strong program, a strong health plan. But you know, we offer so much more. We offer a lot more than just payment of claims. Payment of claims is crucial and it's needed, and it's something, as you saw, that we do very efficiently. But there is so much more to the health plan. We are, like I said, more than claims payment. If you recall our goals, it's important for us to provide programs that engage our membership into their own wellness and their own health. And that's why I'm going to show you or talk to you just about I'm going to emphasize a couple of programs that we do offer, in addition to, you know, paying your providers and paying for your medicines and all of that. So if we can move to the next slide, I'd like to highlight first our wellness program. This is something that it's our well-being support program, and we use WebMD as our provider. And our goal here with this wellness program is to engage all of our population to live healthier lives and to support them in that journey. We have different strategies. We offer rewards. We offer engagement rewards and premium rewards for members engaging and working towards a healthier version of themselves. So I just encourage you as members of our plan to keep working on that good health and that physical activity and everything that we can do to get us healthier. That does help the plan, of course, and it's our plan, but it does help our members and ourselves just to live healthier lives. Just reminders that we have that Living Well Promise coming up. July 1 is the deadline. If you haven't done it, I invite everyone to complete that promise to get those premium discounts for the next year. As state employees, I encourage your co-workers to join not just the completion of the promise, but also to engage in the program and do these challenges. We have water challenges, drink your water and walking and steps and so many other things. So I encourage you to promote that within your co-working community there, because it's just really important. We are always working on improvements, and we have new things coming up for 2023 that we're still in the development process for next year. So that's one of our biggest programs. The next one that I wanted to highlight, and this one is a program. It's on the next slide, Robbie, if you can turn that one. Thank you so much. This one, I don't know if many of you are familiar with this program that we have to offer. We call it our transparency program, but it truly, it literally offers cash incentives for members when they are selecting when they have to have a procedure, and there are hundreds of procedures that are eligible. So when a doctor tells you that you have to have a procedure done, whether it's a mammogram, colonoscopy, labs, therapies, x-rays, there are so many. We have a program whereby you go, if you select, you go to Smart Shopper, it's called Smart Shopper, you go to smartshopper.com and you look for the procedure, and we call it you shop. You shop for the procedure online that you have been recommended by your provider, and then Smart Shopper will give you a list of providers, and we don't rate providers just on cost. We also rate them on quality. So they will give you a list of providers that are cost effective with great outcomes, and if you select the recommended providers for that, all you have to do is you go and have your procedure done or your session done, whatever it is, at that provider. And then because we have a relationship with our claims vendor, you don't have to do anything else. Then you will get a check in the mail. Yes, actual cash, a check in the mail for using that provider that we recommended. So the way we see it is we are sharing in the savings with our members, right? We save when you select a provider that is cost effective and high quality. So we share a portion of that with you, the member. So some people, I know that if you've used it, you love it. That's the feedback we get. If you've never used it, give it a try. I'm sure that you'll be pleased with it. And as you can see, I also wanted to put the savings here so that you can see that it's really been a very effective program. So since inception, we've had gross savings of over $23 million, and we've paid $3.5 million to you, our members, in incentives for using those recommended providers. So that nets about $19.5 million in savings for the plan. So it's a good deal. And like I said, it's just been, and it's one thing that I like to stress is like it's cost and quality. We don't just look for cheapest providers. That doesn't help us. That doesn't help the plan. We look for cost efficiency and quality, high outcomes. And the next program that I wanted to highlight today is it's a brand new one. It's called Hinge Health. In Hinge Health, when we go back to to our goals, we also look about where are we spending most of our money. I mean, we have to look at that to see where we need the most help. So Hinge Health provides a clinical approach, and it's a digital, we call it an end-to-end digital clinic for MSK. MSK is musculoskeletal conditions, and that is everything that has to do with your muscles and joints and lower back pain and all of those things. So we spend a lot of money treating those conditions in services and in medications and surgeries. And sometimes they're not the most effective ones. So we partnered with Hinge Health. We just launched the program on March this year. So it's only a few months old. And already we are receiving so much positive feedback. So the way that this works is the program offers exercise therapy, first of all, in the convenience of your home. It is a digital program. The program also offers behavioral support as well as education for your specific conditions. And it goes all the spectrum from prevention, all the way to surgery, pre and post rehab, and it goes through the acute episodes when you just had something happen to you. Maybe you just had a recent injury, and it helps you with that. And also for people that have chronic, say chronic lower back pain. There's some that are chronic sufferers of those things. So it's a program that is appropriate wherever you are in that spectrum. And the next slide tells us a little bit about how to engage in Hinge Health. So we started with an awareness campaign. I am sure that most of you received information about Hinge Health. We've sent emails. Don't ignore our emails, please. Although we really have a good opening rate with our state population, so that's great. We sent you reminders in the mail at your homes just to tell you about the program. The next step in that process is the assessment. You just contact Hinge Health or go to hello@hingehealth.com. And then what you do is you do a very, very quick assessment of your pain, and they have a few questions for you to see if you qualify for the program. And then once you enroll, you get in the mail very quickly. If you're one of those who qualify for this therapy, you get in the mail a kit, and the kit has a tablet, which is downloaded with the app already, so you don't have to be technically savvy to use it. You get a sensor, you get a device stand, chargers, and carrying case. All of this goes to you. It's free to our members. You don't pay anything, and you can do your therapies at home. And like I said, we've already gotten such a positive feedback. I've only had to do physical therapy once in my life, thank goodness. And I remember, you go to the first therapy and tell you how to do your exercise, and then you're pretty much on your own during that week or 2 weeks to do them and hoping you're doing them right. Well, this one guides you with a tablet, right? That it tells you what exercises you need. It tells you how to do them. The sensor tells you if you're doing them right, if you need to do them differently. It tracks all of that. So it's really great. Like I said, we've had very positive feedback. And we hope to increase, of course, enrollment. So far in a few months, we have not had a problem enrolling individuals. We have over 4,000 members engaged already. So it's too early to tell, what kind of savings we are going to see, but we are very hopeful that this is going to be a really good program for our members. Now, those are the three that I wanted to highlight because I know that we don't have a whole lot of time, and some of you might already be familiar with some of these. But I wanted to just mention, to close, wanted to mention a few other things that we do offer, a few other programs. And like I said, we always focus on where is our money going, where is the greatest need. And we know that diabetes, for instance, is one of those areas. So if we can move to the next slide, we have some programs that target diabetes. Specifically, we have a diabetes prevention program through LARC, and that one helps members lose weight and adopt healthy habits, reduce the risk of developing diabetes, of course, because this is a prevention program. We have a Transform Diabetes Care that is offered through CVS. CVS, our pharmacy partner, they use claims to determine who is at the diabetes stage, and then they provide glucose tools for checking your glucose. They provide information. They ensure that you are adhering to your medication, promote lifestyle changes and all of those things. We also have a value benefit, and that is not just for diabetes, but also for COPD and asthma, whereby we reduce your copays and your coinsurance and non-deductibles for several maintenance medications and supplies. And also, just because we try to get, from all angles, we have a diabetes self-management education and support program. A lot of our health departments provide those to our members, and there used to be a copay to using that, but now it's no copay. So, and finally, to close, a few other programs that just get honorable mention here. We have Prudent RX. This is great if you are on a specialty medication. Specialty medications are very, very expensive medications. So by using fully utilizing copay cards, we have developed a program where members pay zero copay for those very expensive drugs. We have Live Health Online. With the pandemic, we have seen a huge increase in the use of telemedicine. Live Health Online is our telemedicine provider, in that if you use Live Health Online, our members do not have to make a payment either. There is no copay for that. So that is great. It's a great benefit. We also have Will. Will is a Rethink. We used to call it Rethink. It changed its name to Will. But what this does is a program that offers support for families, especially for parents that are dealing with children with behavioral issues. And we have also gotten so much great feedback from the support that this program offers, especially from educators. They use it with their children in the classroom. So, I mean, we don't know sometimes how far this reaches, but we are very pleased, of course, and glad that they help that way. It's not just videos and support, it's chats with live behavior experts and professional. I mean, that is a wonderful benefit. And finally, we have our Future Moms lactation support that now it's offered through Live Health Online as well. And I mean, that closes my presentation. I could talk a long time about all these great benefits. Like I said, I think that it's part of being an employer of choice, that we have a plan that's strong and that it offers our members all of these wonderful benefits. So I thank you for the opportunity. I'll be glad to answer any questions if you have any, and if not, I will send it back to Ms. Simmons.
Thank you, Commissioner. I don't see any questions yet. We'll hold a few seconds because they are on a delay, but we did have some comments. Very informative presentation by Personnel Cabinet and DEI. Department of Employee Insurance, and one of our members, attendees, sent a comment, Hinge Health is great, a gym. I've been telling other staff about it. And just personally myself, over the past year, unfortunately, I've had to use KHP much more than I would have ever thought or hoped, but I just want to say it's great benefits when you need it, can't do without it. And to think of the benefits that we have, all the programs, and that we've had little to no increases in several years. So you and your team and everyone at the Personnel Cabinet, that kudos to everyone.
Thank you, Robbie. We've gotten so much great feedback, like I said, about these programs, and we are very, very proud, of course, And thank you to also the governor and the legislature that, you know, there, I don't know if you have heard, but there will be no employee premium increases for health insurance for next year. That is a big help from, like I said, our governor and our legislature that approved such a wonderful help for our employees, because health insurance is increasing everywhere in the nation. It just goes up, and we've seen that here too. However, like I said, we will see no increases for next year for our employees. That's wonderful.
That's great news. Well, thanks again. We do have one question we'll take. With Hinge Health, can you get help if you have more than one chronic condition?
Well, Hinge Health, absolutely. Hinge Health is specifically for musculoskeletal conditions, and that's what it's designed for. But one thing that we always, when we partner with any vendor, one thing that we always require is that we have referrals to other programs. So depends on the condition that you are dealing with, because there is that opportunity to talk live to a coach, to a therapist, to somebody. If you, as part of your Hinge Health program, talk to them about any other chronic conditions, they will have knowledge of what else we offer for that condition. We'll refer you to that specific program. So, and that's something that we feel very strongly about, that we know, every vendor knows what else we have to offer, because we know members come not just with one condition sometimes.
All right, very good. And we got a couple of comments about no increases. So that's good news on top of the salary increases that 8% we're getting July 1st. So again, thank you to these great leaders at the Personnel Cabinet. We appreciate your all's participation. And with that, I will give everyone an update that if you're looking at the agenda, we are going to forego the 10-15 minute break, and we're going to keep on trucking, if you will, on this HR path. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Chapter President Renata Simmons. Renata.
Thank you, Robbie. Thank you all again from Personnel Cabinet for speaking with us today and sharing that information. We just want to go ahead and keep it moving with our time. So we're going to jump into calling our last order of business for business meeting to order. We wanted to go ahead and I want to introduce Singer Buchanan, who is actually our GADIS committee chair, and he will actually read the history of our GADIS award and announce our winner for our GADIS award.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well today. It's a pleasure to be here. Congratulations to the board on a wonderful program over these last 2 days. The agenda is full of good information, great workshops, great speakers. Today was really super, hearing about the health insurance rates staying the same. I'm one of those people, like everyone else. It's very important, the work they're doing, and it's much appreciated. Okay, but what brings us here for this moment is the presentation of the Walter Gaddis Jr. Award. Walter Gaddis, people don't really understand how visionary this man was. He was tasked with setting up a merit system. Yes, he did that. He was a commissioner of personnel. He also worked at University of Kentucky doing HR for them, did many things. But what a lot of people don't realize was he was the principal architect of the desegregation of Kentucky state government. Okay, when Governor Combs and Governor Breathitt were doing their advocacy for civil rights, their social justice impact at the time was huge in the South. They were doing things unheard of. Well, Professor Ridgell at Kentucky State University, who was actually the first African-American to receive his PhD from the University of Kansas, was in an organization that I was a member of. And one day we're in a meeting and he brought up Gaddis out of the blue. He said, yeah, I remember when Gaddis called us at Kentucky State University, said it was time to make some action. And they were looking to the university to provide people to apply for employment with Kentucky state government. They were knocking down walls. So Walter Gaddis was doing the DEI work in the early 60s. The work that we're still continuing today is what he had a vision of, making this place what it's supposed to be, open for all Kentuckians. So this award is named after an outstanding person. So the recipients of them have all done outstanding achievements in the HR area. And this year's recipient has spent the majority of their career with the Personnel Cabinet. They also worked briefly in the Cabinet for Health and Family Services. They worked at various levels in their career and have been active with the chapter, working behind the scenes for over 20 years. They have helped provide professional development themselves. They have assisted with strategic planning and found speakers to present at our quarterly and annual conferences. This year's recipient also served as a mentor for members of the chapter when we had the mentee program going on, and is a leader in his organization. They have the respect of their peers and is seen as the calm in the sea of change we know as state government. As he has now accepted his position as a wide statesman in state government, he feels free to share his wit and his wisdom with anyone who will listen. He is a family man at heart, and his family includes his co-workers and his friends at IPMA-HR Kentucky chapter. Our recipient is a graduate of the University of Louisville with a BS in Health Occupational Education. Prior to joining state government, he spent 21 years in the United States Army. Thank you for your service. Retiring in 1999. His last 8 years in service was dedicated to training both United States and Allied forces in tactical operations and leadership. He has spent more than 35 years of experience in management training and employee development and has served in multiple positions within state government. He received his certification in lean production systems from the University of Kentucky's Center for Manufacturing. Originally and very proudly from Beaver Creek, Ohio, he now resides in Versailles with his wife, Lisa. The recipient of the 2022 Walter Gaddis Jr. Award is Wes Swarner, Executive Director of the Governmental Services Center. Congratulations, Wes. This will be on your desk. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Singer, and congratulations again to Wes Schwarner. Known face that's been around here for a long time. We appreciate you, Wes. We appreciate your service. We appreciate the work that you do for our Commonwealth of Kentucky. And we're excited that you have earned this award have been a faithful member of IPMA in your service. Got him on?
He is on. If he would like to say anything, I am going to now turn it over to our new Walter Gaddis Award. Mr. Swarner, congratulations, well deserved. It's always been a pleasure working with you and laughing with you. So if you have any words, hate to put you on the spot, but that's what happens when you do good work. Are you there?
I am here, Robbie.
Well, congratulations. What we'll do is follow up later and get you the much deserved Walter Gaddis Award. And congratulations for all your hard work. It's appreciated.
I'm speechless. I mean, yes, I'm caught off guard and so appreciative of what this chapter does and what you continue to do, and just being a part of it's an honor.
Well said. Like I said, appreciate it. Hate to caught you off guard, but like I said, good work comes well deserved. So congratulations. Back to you, Renata.
Thank you all.
Goodness, Wes, you got me over here tearing up. Are you okay over there?
I'm sorry.
So you got me over here tearing up. Are you okay over there? Congratulations again. Thank you. All right, well, we will keep it rolling. And at this time, I just want to take a moment to thank our current board for serving again, like we said yesterday, this past year, still trucking through the end of the COVID pandemic that we've had and in this virtual setting. So I just want to thank you all for all of your hard work and for coming together as a team. Without you all, none of this is possible. Everyone is dedicated, has been dedicated to this chapter and putting minds together and working hard to continue on and keep thriving and moving our chapter forward. So greatly appreciate all of you. Appreciate your encouragement and your leadership, your helping to build even my personal confidence, but just working with you together. Look forward to continuing on in this chapter and being an immediate past president and welcoming our new current 2022 and 2023 president, Groverdale Clemens, and excited to be able to still work with our new board for the upcoming year. And just want to say, everyone, please, please, please get involved. It is an honor to be able to serve our state and represent our states in this organization and through this organization. And we look forward that next year we're able to probably even bring back more things that we weren't able to really continue on and do over the past years. So at this moment, I want to say thank you again to our board, and I want to welcome and virtually turn over the gavel to Goverdale, and we will close out our business meeting of that of our end of our business. So if we have a motion to, I guess, close out our business meeting and then turn things over to Groverdale.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Renata. I've got several honors and privileges that I'm going to name off, and one of those for sure is being on the board with you and the current board members. And it's great for me to know that, we're transitioning from one awesome, great board. And just like I emailed the new oncoming board members, we're transitioning to another wonderful and awesome board. So I'm super excited and I'm ready for the upcoming year. And just as I mentioned yesterday to them, that we've got a lot of challenges ahead of us, a lot of things to look forward to, especially as we look to try to transition, back to in-person meetings. So that's one thing that we're super excited about, as well as planning the upcoming 2023 annual conference. So planning is well underway for that, and we will have information on that very soon. The next thing I also have the honor and privilege is I want to circle back to Wes and congratulate him on being the Walter Gaddis recipient. It's been a privilege to know Wes. Wes and I go back several years as I started back in the personnel cabinet. So congratulations, Wes. And I also want to mention Singer Buchanan. And Singer, you do such an excellent job. The history going back, it's when you tell that background and the history of that, it's touching. So thank you for that background that you provided. Other than that, the last thing I do want to say is, if you weren't on yesterday, I do want to mention that Larry Gillis is running for the personnel board, and Larry has been a mentor to me. He's been somebody special in my life, both in the work realm as well as in the personal realm. So thank you, Larry, for being that person for me, and I'm sure for many others. And do want to mention that we have merit system employees have until June 15th to return their ballot to the personnel board. So I encourage you to do so, and let's help elect Larry Gillis, one of our own board members, and especially as he transitions off, a member of IPMA to the personnel board. So with that being said, Renata, I'll turn it back to you, unless I am going ahead and introducing our next speakers, and that looks like that's what I'm doing.
Let's go ahead and do our last giveaway.
Oh,
real
okay.
quick. Yeah. So it's that, what is it, the 2-night
One.
stay?
We do have 1 2-night stay at a resort park, and with that, you'll get a mug that I also have. So I guess we want to queue up the Mentimeter.
For the wheel, yeah.
Or the Wheel of Names, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Robbie got that.
All right, here we go.
I wish we had some music for this.
It should have been on there. That's okay. Technical stuff.
It's okay. All right, Rachel Holt is the
Awesome.
winner
Rachel.
of the 2-night stay at one of our Kentucky State parks. Of course, that was donated by here, the Department of Parks, with the Tourism, Arts, and Heritage Cabinet. So congratulations, Rachel. Super excited. We will get in touch with you and pass off that voucher for you. So,
Do we have any more giveaways, or this is the only one?
That should be it.
All right, let me get back to the presentation.
Congrats, Rachel.
I'll give you a second to make that change. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to be introducing our next set of speakers. Mark Kennedy is the Training and Development Branch Manager for the Energy and Environment Cabinet, with more than a decade of successful experience in training and employee development. Mark specializes in human resource related training, such as leadership development, new employee orientation, new software, and safety. A strong believer in lifelong learning, Mark regularly creates new programs to assist employees with enhancing their skills and abilities. Mark enjoys a good family movie night and can also be found with binoculars watching birds. Also, we have David Dooley, the Executive Director of the Office of Administrative Services, is a 23-year employee of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, over 18 years within the Kentucky Energy and Environment Cabinet. In November 2017, David became the Executive Director of the Energy Environment Cabinet Office of Administrative Services. In this role, he has the oversight of human resources, financial management, as well as information technology needs for EEC. David holds a Bachelor's of Arts degree from Berea College and a Master's degree in Public Administration with an emphasis in Human Resource Management from Kentucky State University. He is married to LaTanya Ison Dooley and has 2 children. So without further ado, Mark, I turn it over to you.
Excellent. Hello, everybody. I'm excited to be here at the 11:30 hour. I know it's almost lunchtime. I know the Price is Right is on, so this is going to be we hope we can keep you engaged and excited as we talk about something that's really passionate for us. I mentioned the Price is Right only because I was in a training one time in Teams, and you never know what's going on with staff. And we came back from break at 11 o'clock. And one of the participants forgot to mute their mic, and sure enough, the next item up for bid, and everybody in the group heard it. And I said, I hope you only bid $1. So he quickly muted his mic. So you never know what's going on out in the Teams world, but I'm really happy to be here with you all today, and to share with you a great program going on in our cabinet EEC. And and I'll share the PowerPoint presentation here in just a moment, but I wanted to give David the opportunity to say hello to everybody. And before I do, David, I also don't want to forget to thank Renata and Dale and all of the IPMA board members. Thanks for having us today to chat with you all. I really do appreciate that. David?
No, I'll just echo that, Mark. We really appreciate the opportunity to share a program that's very near and dear to our heart, the EEC Leadership Academy. And want to thank the IPMA board and the personnel cabinet leadership as well for giving us the opportunity today. And hopefully we can share something you might find useful and can take back to your own workplace.
Okay, everybody. So hopefully you can see the slides. Is everybody able to see them?
Yeah, all's good. Thank you.
Awesome. So like we said, we're from the Energy and Environment Cabinet. We have been doing a leadership academy within EEC since 2019. And we really set out our goals for the program were really to identify potential leaders within the cabinet and really invest in growth and development. As all of you know, in the HR world, we spend a lot of time trying to keep people these days, recruiting and retention. And a big part of that, what we found is they want more professional development. They want more training opportunities. And so we have tried to meet that need with regard to leadership. And as we also know, with the changing scope of state government, there's a lot of folks out there that are really reaching the time when they're ready to retire. So we really want to build a bench full of potential leaders that could take their spot. So that's been a big goal for us. Another big part of our Leadership Academy, and there's not a one-size-fits-all with a Leadership Academy, especially if it's something you all are interested in your agencies. You have to do what fits your group. In our group, we have two really big divisions. We have a division of environmental protection and a division of natural resources. And for a long time, their work kind of cross-pollinated, but they didn't know that. So they didn't know one another. So another big goal of our Leadership Academy is really to expose those folks to each other, and so that they could grow together and start having a cross-pollination and better work together to solve problems for our environment. David, anything you want to add to that?
No, Mark, you're fine. You can move to the next slide.
Okay, we will. So our program overview, we did a lot of research before we launched. We started in 2018. David came and said, hey, Mark, we're going to do a Leadership Academy. The secretary really wants to do it. So we did a lot of research. There's a great Leadership Academy already in the state. Transportation does a great job with theirs. So we went over and they were so kind to visit with us and really kind of cover what they did. And then I also actually traveled to the state of Tennessee, and I know that Dr. Trish Holliday is somebody that a lot of you already know. And so we spent some time together talking through their Leadership Academy that they do statewide. And we really settled on a 12-month program, and we have 25 participants each year. And now each division that we have in EEC will give them a set number of spots. So our bigger divisions have the bigger number of spots, obviously, and then our smaller groups have some spots as well. What we do is we do 6 classroom sessions on leadership topics, and they range from your typical sort of communications and critical thinking and those kind of things. And then we also incorporate 6 site visits, and those are to the various parts of our cabinet. So to give you all a little background, we have the Division of Water, we have the Division of Air Quality, we have forestry within our agency. So our foresters, they go out and fight fires in Alaska, in Texas. So if there's a wildfire going on across the country, those folks will be out there doing that. And so we really want to kind of expose people that are in different areas to the different things that that we do in the cabinet. So that's a big part of our program. So the first thing I would say to all of you, anybody that's potentially thinking of doing their own agency leadership academy or any kind of leadership development, my thinking, the thing that we had to have, and we're lucky in EEC that no matter what the administration, our secretaries have been right behind the program. And I can't say enough about Secretary Goodman's involvement. She's been terrific to have as part of the program. She comes and speaks to the group, and really anybody in our executive leadership team, they are a part of the Leadership Academy. They're a part of the team. It's not just a Mark and David show. It really is a group effort, and we have them all come in. They all speak to the group. They have access to our executive leadership at all times. We've started a mentoring program in this current group. So I would just say that right up front. If you all are considering it or thinking about doing some sort of leadership development, make sure your secretary is at the top of that, the sponsor of that. That's actually one thing that Dr. Trish Holliday spoke to me about. She said, don't do it unless everybody's involved. Everybody. They have, of course, their governor comes to their statewide programs and speaks. So again, that's a big part of it. And I think that that's really important piece of our success is that our executive leadership team is heavily involved. So once we got all that done, we threw out the application process. And this is a self-nomination process to be a part of the EEC Leadership Academy. They have to complete an application. They have to answer the essay questions we've asked them, such as what do you think you will gain from being a part of the Leadership Academy, and what can you provide to others that might help them in their journeys? So those are a couple of the essay questions. And then we actually asked for a couple of reference letters within EEC from their leadership. So all of that gets turned in, and then that is decided upon. The 25 for each year is actually decided on by the secretary and David and the commissioners. David, anything you want to add to the selection piece?
Yes, we've been really surprised each year. As Mark mentioned, we're in our third year of this program. So we've had upwards of 50 or 60 people apply each and every year. So it's a very competitive process to get in. You know, the first year we went with paper, and in the second year we kind of moved to an electronic format where you could do the application online. So again, we're trying to respond to the changing world that we're all in. So it's been a really good program so far.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's a couple of shots from our first group, their 2019 group. You can see that the top picture there up in the left corner is our classroom event, one of our classroom trainings. We actually, I don't know if you could tell that up there, but we actually go through what's called DISC profiling with everybody. So they kind of see where they're at in their personality profile. And then in the middle there is actually a picture, of course, pre-pandemic, of all of us at the Ford Motor Plant in Louisville. We actually went over there and we toured the plant. They did us a tour, and you know, they've got that awesome, you know, train buggy thing there that they took us all around on. So fascinating to see the Ford F-150s put together. And just we do, you know, part of our task is to go and inspect the Ford Motor Plant within EEC. So that was our in, and we went and visited there. In the bottom right corner is actually our trip to one of our nature preserves. So another part of EEC is we actually preserve nature, as it sounds, the nature preserves team. And so they led us on a hike in Pine Mountain, actually, is where that is. And it was it's a great thing. And you would think, initially, I don't think David and I or the secretary ever thought what has happened here would have happened. I don't think we could have ever guessed. We really have these people from all different parts, 1,300 people in EEC. They all are coming together. And by the end of this whole thing, each year, this is like a little family. We've developed a little group, you know, and this group keeps getting bigger and bigger with each year we're doing it. And it's just so valuable, and it means so much to all of us. And these trips just do wonders for building rapport amongst our leaders within the cabinet. And it's just been an awesome experience. So here's our graduates. We had a big graduation ceremony. We do it up, you all. We try to do our best to make them feel as special as they are to us in the cabinet. So our secretary spoke at the graduation. They each got an award. We had a luncheon, and really just so proud, you all, of those folks, and humbled to be a part of it. I can tell you that each one of those in the picture just whether they've stayed, you know, and the other part is they don't always stay with EEC. Not everybody in that group's with EEC at this point, but they all benefited from it. I keep on my desk this huge thank you letter that they all put in together and they all signed, and it just means so much to me. And like I said, I've just been very humbled by that group and just the whole process. But David, anything you want to add at this point?
No, Mark, I think we're fine at this point.
Yeah. So 2020 hit us, and we all know, you know, what happened in 2020. So we had to really change the Leadership Academy, and we call them seasons, kind of like TV shows. Our season 2 group had a very different experience from what went on with group 1. Obviously, as you all know, because of the pandemic. But what I would say, something that I know the secretary encouraged us, she said, please continue on with the Leadership Academy, because what better way to learn leadership skills than in the global pandemic? And we did that. So one thing I would say to you all is each year we've done it, we have improved it, we've adapted to the situation. And that group had a very different experience from group 1, but I really feel like that it was obviously very different, but also very impactful to all of them. And I'm just, you know, proud that we were able to continue it on, and they had a meaningful experience within that year. And really, we because of the pandemic, it wasn't just a year-long program. We kind of bled over to almost a 2-year program with them, mostly through Microsoft Teams. So it was a really, really good experience. Anything you want to add there, Dave?
The only thing I'll add is just a general thought. You probably will cover this later, Mark, but at the end of the program, we have each participant to make a presentation to kind of our executive management team on a human resources related topic. And the first year we kind of left it wide open for the candidates to choose a topic. The second year we tried to streamline that for them to tell us how they would use different human resources related information they learned in the program in their current employment. So we've been really fascinated about the interpersonal ability of our group to really to make worthwhile presentations on topics, and how they didn't realize other parts of the cabinets that they may impact them inadvertently without even knowing. But they learned that through this program. Mark mentioned the division of water. We also have a lot of mine reclamation activities in our cabinet, and at all these mine reclamation sites there's slurry ponds and water runoff, and occasionally that unfortunately will affect drinking water for individuals throughout the state. And so these two groups didn't even realize that they were both working on the same mission, and we found so many more ways that they were able to interact together to make our cabinet's mission more effective. So,
yeah, thanks, David. That's a good reminder, and a couple things I want to mention going back to our 2019 group. Like I told you early, one of our goals was to really, like David just mentioned, kind of cross-pollinate the whole EEC. It's not just environmental protection and DNR, but it's a whole EEC group. And the very first session we had, you can imagine when they came into the classroom, they all sat in their groups. There was no mingling, really. But by the last day on this graduation, the secretary came up to me and said, "Look at that. They're all mixed together. They're all EEC. They are not a bunch of different folks." And I wanted to mention another thing, a quick story for you all related to the presentations, because everyone has to do a 12 to 18-minute presentation, as David said, about a leadership topic. And that is something that looms on them like through the whole year. So we're practicing with them on their presentation styles, and we're helping them come up with their topics. And they're nervous as cats when they have to go, because when we do it, we have the secretary, the deputy secretary, all the commissioners, anybody that's in their management chain, everybody comes to listen. And so they feel this pressure to do that, but it's important, we feel like, to have them do the presentations. So one guy in particular out of this 2019 group was, his time had come, he was about 2 hours away from his presentation time. And he went to one of my staff, and I think a lot of you probably know her, or some of you do, from IPMA. Her name was Sarah Austin. And he told Sarah, he said, "I'm going to quit. And I'm not doing it. I'm leaving." He got sick to his stomach, went to the bathroom. He was very, very nervous. But she talked him down. And to tell you all this, the truth is, he got up there and he smashed the presentation. It was incredible. It was one of the best ones we had. It was emotional, and everything was great. Not to bring the mood down, but tragically, we lost Sarah in 2020. And after we lost her, that guy came up to me and he said, "You know, I never got the chance to tell her how much she helped improve my confidence and my life." And so I thought about that. I wanted to say to all of you today that are listening, if there is somebody that's done something like that for you, that boosted you up, and you haven't told, please tell them, okay? To go back to day one with Colleen, celebrate what they did for you and what they meant to you. I think that you never know when you'll have that chance. So hopefully you'll do that. And I didn't want to get totally off the subject, but I think that's important for all of us as we move forward. Okay. So like I said, our 2020 group was very different from 2019's. We completed most of it through Microsoft Teams. We talked a lot. Our theme really became leading through adversity and difficult times. That was really a key to that time period, as we all know. And here's our group. This is right prior to the hit of the pandemic. This is a group from some of our leadership team too. And every year we try to take them over to the legislature to listen to the sessions at least once or twice, so they get an idea of that side of government as well. And so this is the one picture we had way back prior to the pandemic hitting. Hopefully, yeah. So I want to share with you all this promotional video that we did. So each year before we open up the application process, we will send out a video of our current or previous Leadership Academy participants. And this one is really meaningful because it's a mix of our group 1 and our group 2. And, you know, we'll talk more about it after the short video. I just wanted you all to see this. Hopefully it'll work.
The Leadership Academy was designed to prepare EEC employees for future and current leadership roles in the cabinet.
I had been with the cabinet for about 15 or 16 years before I applied, and I really just wanted that next level experience. Like, I wanted to learn more about the cabinet as a whole.
Directors, assistant directors come and speak with us about their roles. We also have site visits, which allows participants to be able to get a feel for what different divisions and departments do.
This course not only teaches you about leadership skills, but also really how all the different agencies within the cabinet work together, how big and complex it is.
It would be an amazing asset to you to figure out who you are as a person and how you are as a leader.
You know, it's fun to get to know your coworkers and to experience things that you probably wouldn't experience otherwise.
If you're considering applying to the Leadership Academy, don't waver, just apply, because it is an awesome experience.
So one of the things we're really proud of with that group is that everybody you saw in that video actually is promoted into a leadership position at this point. Some of them into director positions, assistant directors, and branch managers. So it's really been just an amazing program to be a part of. Our current group is going on. We started in October of 2021. We're doing a mix now. We learned a lot, as all of you said, or as everybody's heard this week or these couple of days. So we're doing Teams meetings now, also in-person meetings, and we just got back from Louisville's Waterfront Botanical Garden, which is, if you haven't been over there, you should totally go see the Waterfront Botanical Garden. It's an amazing location. It was actually built on a brownfield, which is basically an old abandoned building, or in this case, it was an old dump that was repurposed in Louisville to be a waterfront botanical garden. So that's a great trip. They learned a lot about our brownfield program that day. So just so proud of everything that we've done, and just being a part of it has been a special thing. And this is our current group. We actually went out to a place called Maxey Flats. You may or may not have heard of that, but it used to be an old disposal site for nuclear waste, and now it's just sort of the cabinet itself owns the property, and we went out just to talk to those guys that work out there every day, and really had a great time with that. So to conclude the presentation portion, 44% of our Leadership Academy participants have been promoted since going through the program. And specifically, several of those folks have said that they gained confidence to apply for those spots because they went through the Leadership Academy. So it's just been an awesome experience. Like I said earlier, I don't know that David or I would have ever thought it would be what it is, but it's been incredible. A couple of our folks that left the cabinet went to federal government and put on their resume that they went through the EEC Leadership Academy, and they told us that the interviewer there was really impressed with that. So what we're doing is just something to help boost our cabinet and keep our people. And every new employee orientation we do, we talk about the Leadership Academy and how they'll be eligible for that once they're off probation to apply for it. So it's just a great program, and thank you all so much for allowing us to talk about that today here at IPMA. David, anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, Mark, I'll just add that, we're obviously very excited that 44% of our staff that have ran through the program have been promoted at this point. But it's a big thing for us was we were looking at our managers and directors and supervisors throughout our cabinet, and we had a lot that were within that 23 to 27 years of service range. And the most important thing to us was, how do we transfer that knowledge before it's too late? So this Leadership Academy was the first step on that process of just making sure that knowledge transfer happened, and identifying those next leaders and getting them trained, before this a mass retirement might happen. So it's been very successful. We've talked to a couple of different cabinets previously about our program in a little bit more in detail. We're always available to do that. If anyone has any questions offline, if they want to reach out to me or Mark, we'd be happy to answer those. Again, and just thank you for the opportunity today to talk about the program.
Yeah, thank you all so much. And if there are questions, or anybody has any questions or anything like that, we'll be glad to answer them. But I'm sure everybody wants to go eat lunch, so we'll see.
Any questions yet, Mark? But people are on a 30-second delay, so we'll give a minute. Not seeing any yet. Renata, back to you.
All right. Thank you, Mark and David, for sharing the information about the EEC Leadership Academy with our chapter. We appreciate it. This is an awesome program that your cabinet is offering for your employees, and it's extremely important that I've been seeing a trend, and the words that keep coming up with this great resignation, that cabinets and leaderships take these opportunities to give proper attention and care to its employees. So I really appreciate you all sharing with us about your program. I've learned from even the conference we went to last week, Southern Region, just talking about one of the classes we had about the great resignation. I know they were just saying it's so important to, especially new employees, that employees need to be nurtured. And programs like this help employees to see their role and their purpose, and align it with the agency or the company's purpose. So these types of programs are awesome, and we appreciate you sharing. And hopefully this presentation will inspire other cabinets and agencies to offer more leadership development programs for its employees who don't have them. And as I have learned and seeing this, the programs like this help and can be rewarding, especially when you ground your growth in culture. And as I've been seeing and hearing, that culture starts with leadership. So the culture that you want to have for your agency, it starts with your leadership, and providing and cultivating your leadership within helps to continue to build your agency. So thank you. At this time, we want to thank everyone for attending. We want to thank our sponsor, thank our speakers, thank our board for putting this together, thank our members for tuning in. Even if you're not a member, we encourage you to get more involved with IPMA, with our chapter. This has been an awesome 2022 annual conference, even though virtual and with the glitches. So we've heard a lot of information and things that we can take with us. So hopefully everyone's gathered something that they can use at work for themselves, and they've learned something about themselves to help them be a better leader for our Commonwealth. So Robbie, is there anything, not Robbie, but Grover, was there anything else you wanted to mention?
No, I think you stated it very well, Renata. I just wanted to thank everybody for great presentations over the last 2 days, and thank Mark and David for speaking today. And also just glad for another year, another year down, another year to come. So with that, I think we're good to adjourn today's meeting.
All right, thank you. We'll be in touch soon for further new the upcoming events, and also again be looking out for your training credit that Robbie will be issuing through My Purpose through the attendance reports. And at this moment, we will sound off for our 2022 annual IPMA Kentucky Chapter Conference. So thank you all. Thank you for your support.